I'm done trying to make y'all comfortable. For the record, you ain't trying to grow, then it's done for you. For the record, lab on me going all the way. For the record, ain't trying to link, no time to waste. For the record, for the record, for the record, for the record, for the record. Been a little too nice to y'all. Now I gotta up price on y'all. Snake eyes on dice for y'all. Shoulders on ice for y'all. 8-6 all the hate. I won't get a ball today. Got lost in the ball and A's. I'm flipping the bars, I'm flipping the on record, off record. I still count wins when they got it. On record, off record. I let them take advantage. I was wildin'. On record, off record deals. Tell them talk to Colin for the quote. On record, off record. I still want the act, not the ghost. For the record, I'm done trying to make y'all comfortable. For the record, you ain't trying to grow, then it's done for you. For the record, lab on me going all the way. For the record, ain't trying to link, no time to waste. For the record, for the record.
And it's winter here in Australia, if you're not from Australia. And you know the dogs usually come and greet me, but because it's so cold, I'll literally get home and they just like won't even care. And I guarantee if we go upstairs, they are still asleep in bed because they're princesses. I raised precious princesses. Oh, what are you two doing? You're still in bed. Well, Mum's been awake for hours. Also guys, I got a package from Gymshark. New Gymshark gear, as you saw this morning. They've got a couple of new collections happening. I think there's 3 new collections, so I'll put a link in my description, and that's like my affiliate link if you want to shop through that. But they're so cute. Make sure you check them out. They're very different to what Gymshark usually does, and I'd almost say like it's very kind of like luxe styling, like this cute top. It's almost like ballerina. Really enjoying it, so make sure you keep your eye out for that too.
All you need is my pain. Nothing in between ever made you lost. When you were born there was thunder, fire lit.
So before I go downstairs, I wanted to show you guys some new makeup I got. If you're an OG subscriber, you would know, like, I want to say like a year ago, I did like a full face of makeup and showed you wearing the Raww products. I obviously don't do stuff like this because I'm not a beauty blogger or anything like that. But of course, I'm still a girl. I like to wear makeup. And so I still use all my Raww products. Like I've just done my foundation and I just used the honey foundation and I did my eyebrows. But I want to show you some new products that they sent me, all pencils. As you guys know, I use their stuff all the time. I love their aromatherapy range, everything, but all their products are natural. They're always infused with like natural oils. So for example, with all these pencils, they have bonus ingredients like coconut oil, which is really good for your skin. They have acai berry infused and vitamin E. So there's always like added extras in their products too, which I love. First up, I want to show you the concealer pencils. When I first saw these, I thought concealer pencils, I don't know how that's going to work, but they're actually very creamy and smooth.
This obsession, full force dispossess, come and quiet this aggression.
As you can see, I just used it before my bronzer, put my bronzer on, which is Raww too, and then used it under my eyes to brighten. The next pencils that I got are eye pencils.
We'll come back,
really subtle. I I did a darker around the outside, and then I went in with the lighter in the inside just to brighten the eyes. And then last one is they have a whole new range of lip liners. I've showed you the lipstick from Raww, which was called Angelic Almond, I'm pretty sure, and it was my favorite. You guys loved it too. So they actually have a pencil that matches that. That is it, guys. That's everyday makeup using those new Raww pencils. Absolutely in love. You guys know I prefer more of like a natural look and natural products. As always, I do have a code which gets you $10 off Raww plus free shipping. I think there's a min spend of like $30. So I'll chuck it here. It's just Georgie10, and I will put the links in the description. So before we get into what to do when you don't diet, I want you to think why you feel the need to change your appearance or lifestyle. If it's, you know, number one, the fact that you're not feeling great. Like my whole reason for this health kick was I just wasn't feeling great. I definitely know what it feels like to feel amazing in my body, because I've previously been there, and because of a couple of bad habits creeping in, I just wasn't feeling my greatest physically and mentally, and so that's what prefaced this whole health kick. But if it's not for that and you think that you need to look a different way, like I want you to think about why you feel the need to change. Is it because there's this very narrow ideal of what beautiful and accepted beauty is, and I know that's why a majority of you would want to change your appearance, would want to lose weight. Have a think, like, why do I actually want to achieve this goal and look this certain way? Like, literally, why? Is it just because you consume so much information, media, social media, that tell you that that's the way you should look? Like, actually have a think about that, because it's crazy. You're like, okay, so why do I actually want to look like that? I used to look at always wanting to change my body and going on a diet that way, and I really had to go through this process of unfollowing a lot of fitness accounts, social media accounts, who basically just made me feel like I wasn't good enough being in this body. Even with my family, I remember kind of saying to Tim and saying to my mum and dad, you know, like I don't want to talk about looking a certain way or anything to do with appearance or anything like that. And also what I started doing is I started following accounts of all different body sizes. So for so long, I literally just followed accounts that were skinny, white women, blonde women, because of me. And I was so narrow-minded to think that that is all that there is in the world. So for me, a big step was also to start following all different body sizes, body positivity accounts. And then bigger than that, I realized that most of what I consumed in a day, which is mostly social media for me, it was mostly to do about health and fitness. And when you think about it, eating food and working out, what is it? Maybe like 3 hours of your 24 hours? Like you're doing a lot of other things during the day, but seemingly on social media, all I was following was fitness and health. So it makes you think that everybody else cares about it 24/7 because that's all you're constantly seeing. So also a big thing for me was just starting to follow other accounts that weren't all about health and fitness. And that's even like with my content, you would have had noticed lately. Of course, I talk about health and fitness, like that's my passion, but I also try and put a lot of other content in my content because I don't want you guys to think that all I do is think about recipes and think about food and what I eat in the day and working out and all that sort of thing, because it's just not true. You can even start following or consuming other things like, you know, funny meme accounts, or I follow a lot of interior design pages now, or I follow a lot of like podcast pages and just different stuff so you don't get stuck in this box where you think the whole world revolves around how you look, what you eat, and how you work out. And then lastly, if you're someone who wants to make a physical change because you think you need to lose weight, and this has come up because on my previous video, I had a girl who said, what about if you are overweight or obese and you do need to lose weight for health reasons? Like I said in all my other videos, I'm not a health professional. This is not advice. Do not take advice from influencers. This is just my personal opinion. And I guess I just putting some other thoughts out there because of a lot of what you consume on fitness influencers channels is like, yes, lose the weight, go on that diet. But another thing I want you to think about is in a recent podcast episode, I talked to Dooner, who writes the book, The Fuck It Diet. I've recommended it to you guys before. She actually talks about this movement called Health at Every Size Movement. It's a book. I want to read the book. And basically this whole book looks into health. And it's really interesting because we are told in the media that, you know, obesity is an epidemic and people are a lot more risk of all these diseases and all that. And I'm not saying that's not true. I'm just saying in this book, she explains there's a lot of science that says that what the media says about that is actually not true, and it's actually, they've done some studies and it's actually more unhealthy for a person to be, you know, overweight and constantly lose weight, put on weight, lose weight, put on weight, which is what diets do. So I guess it's also trying to break this stigma that fat equals unhealthy and thin equals healthy, because there's a lot of science now that just says that is not true. People don't like when I say this, but I guess it's just about if you really think you need to lose weight for health reasons, maybe have a look, like have a read of this book, have a look at some studies. So that's something to think about. Lastly, I guess the whole question, what do? You don't want to diet, but you still want to focus on health and, you know, that sort of thing. And that's kind of what I've been saying this whole Health Kick series. For me, it's about focusing on big blocks and everyday habits that I can improve that don't involve restriction and manipulation of my body. That's a big thing for me. The big blocks that I focus on movement, getting in my movement every single day. You guys know I love Fit Stop or beach walks. Nutritional food, so focusing on foods that, you know, I know are really good for my insides, but also focusing on foods that I know I love the taste of and then I know that makes me feel happy, because I know for me, food is definitely an emotional thing. And I don't think it's supposed to be this thing where there's no emotion tied to food. If you think about in history, like food had a lot to do with celebration and culture. And so I never want to go through a period again like I used to where I just don't enjoy food. So I very much enjoy food. Obviously drinking water, that's one of my initial habits that I told you guys that I've been like really working on and doing well. And a big thing for me is sleep and stress. So for me, making sure I get my 7 to 8 hours. At the moment, it's kind of 7 because I'm a bit busy, but that's fine. And then also dealing with stress, because I'm someone who gets anxiety and stress really easy, and that can really mess with my hormones health. So for me, it's about focusing on stuff like that rather than stuff like restricting certain food groups, counting calories or anything like that. Also, I live by the rules of whenever I'm finding something to get almost addictive. So I do have a very addictive personality. That's why I got addicted to dieting and looking a certain way. I don't know if you guys have noticed, but I haven't been wearing my Apple Watch because I went through this stage where I was realizing that I was constantly checking my steps. And I just realized it was starting to get a bit addictive and I was very much relying on this tool. So I actually took my watch off because I said to myself, I don't want to just go for a walk because I think I have to. I want to go for a walk because it makes me feel good, and I know mentally it's going to make me feel good, rather than going for a walk because this watch says I should. For me, it's just about being very self-aware in your habits and just making sure nothing gets addictive and obsessive, because for me, that's when the downfall happened. And then obviously the last thing for me that really helped me when I wasn't dieting, but I still wanted to, I guess, focusing on something. It's kind of like this in-between period where you're like trying to let dieting go, but you've done it for so long. And for me, it was going on my intuitive eating journey, which now, like, it's not something I really think about because I just do it, but it was, for me, the intuitive eating journey was like an 8 months to a year thing. That was nice to focus on because it's kind of just like shifting your focus. As you guys know, I have a beginner's guide to intuitive eating, which is the 5 steps, and I wrote that as a tool for you guys. A lot of the resources out there are really great and I love consuming them, but they can be quite complicated. So I just wanted to do a very simple 5-step guide. Also include some yummy recipes because I'm into that. So I'll put that link there too of my ebook. I am gonna wrap up this video. This week I made a really amazing meal prep. As you guys know, meal prep is one of my health kick habits that I'm implementing, going very strong. And it was the most delicious like chicken pie. So go to the link in my description and I'll link the recipe because that's a really good meal prep meal where I make one and I have full lunches. But I'm gonna wrap this video up now. As you guys know, I love chatting about this sort of stuff. Let me know if you have any questions and I hope you have a lovely day. I'll see you in my next video.